A Chinese car brand that barely anyone in Britain had heard of 3 years ago just crossed 100,000 sales in the UK. And according to a rival car company, this might only be the beginning. One executive just predicted that half of all new cars sold in Britain could soon be Chinese. This channel has followed BYD's rise all year, from quietly taking over parts of Europe to beating Tesla in global deliveries to revealing a luxury flagship built to rival the Mercedes S-Class. This story takes that same growth pattern and drops it into one specific country, giving us a clear, measurable example of exactly how fast this expansion is actually happening on the ground. Let us start with the numbers. BYD launched in the UK in March 2023 with exactly one model, the Atto 3, sold through just 5 dealerships. This week, the company confirmed it has now registered more than 100,000 new cars across the country. To put that growth in perspective, other car brands have taken decades to reach the same milestone. BYD did it in a little over 3 years. The pace of that growth is speeding up too, not slowing down. More than a third of those 100,000 sales, exactly 37,995 vehicles, happened in just the first 6 months of this year alone. In June specifically, BYD's UK sales jumped 36.2% compared to the year before, reaching 6,242 units and giving the brand almost 3% of the entire UK car market in a single month. BYD's UK country manager, Bono Gay, credited the milestone to the trust of actual buyers, saying the company is grateful to the 100,000 owners and their families who welcomed BYD into their lives. But behind that message is a much bigger operational story. BYD's UK lineup has grown from that single Atto 3 model to 10 different vehicles, spanning fully electric cars like the compact Dolphin Surf and the powerful 530 horsepower Sale 7 SUV coupe, alongside a growing range of DMI plug-in hybrids led by the Seal U, followed more recently by the Atto 2 DMI and the Seal 6 DMI, available in both saloon and estate body styles. Its dealer network has expanded just as fast, from 5 retail partners at launch to 143 sites across the country today, giving far more British buyers a local showroom to actually see and test drive the cars in person. And BYD is not slowing down its expansion. The company has already confirmed several more models are coming to the UK soon, including the Dolphin G, the Shark, and the TI7, alongside vehicles from its premium Denza sub-brand, including the Z, D9, Bao 5 and Z9 GT. Bono Gay also confirmed that BYD's flash charging technology, the same ultra-fast charging system we have covered on this channel before, is being introduced in the UK to make owning an electric BYD even more convenient. Now here is where this story gets even bigger than just one company. BYD is not the only Chinese brand making serious noise in Britain right now. Chery's JQ J7, a crossover SUV starting at just £24,555, about $33,000, was actually the 7th best-selling vehicle in the entire UK in June, with dealers moving 3,145 units in that month alone. Chinese brands overall are now expected to account for roughly 20% of all new car sales in the UK this year, a huge jump for an entire category of manufacturers that barely had a presence in the country just a few years ago. And this is where the prediction comes in that really caught our attention. Andrew Stewart, the sales director at Geely, one of BYD's biggest Chinese rivals and the same company that owns Volvo and Polestar, brands we have covered extensively on this channel, told reporters this week that he believes Chinese brands could soon account for as much as half of all new cars sold in the UK. Think about that for a moment. A sales executive at a competing Chinese automaker is not just celebrating his own company's growth, he is predicting that the entire British car market could tip toward Chinese ownership within the next few years. And he has no obvious reason to inflate that number, since it applies to his competitors just as much as it applies to Geely itself. So why is this happening so fast? Part of the answer is price. Chinese automakers have consistently undercut European and Japanese rivals on cost, while still packing their cars with modern technology, big touchscreens, generous warranties, and increasingly competitive range figures. British trade body, the SMMT, has openly warned that Chinese brands are squeezing traditional UK automakers hard on price, forcing legacy manufacturers to either match those prices and sacrifice profit margins, or lose market share to newcomers willing to sell for less. It is not just BYD doing this either. It is happening across the board from multiple Chinese manufacturers at once, which is exactly why the overall Chinese market share number keeps climbing rather than just one brand's individual sales. The other part of the answer is simply speed and ambition. Unlike the United States, where tariffs above 100% effectively keep Chinese-branded vehicles out of the market entirely, the UK has no such barrier in place. Chinese automakers have treated Britain as one of their most important entry points into Western Europe, pouring resources into dealer networks, marketing, and rapidly expanding model lineups specifically because the door is open and the competition has been slower to respond. That open door is a big part of why the UK has become such a useful test case for just how fast Chinese brands can grow when nothing is blocking them. This UK story fits into a pattern we have tracked on this channel again and again this year. BYD quietly took over huge chunks of the European market earlier in the year. It beat Tesla in global deliveries. It revealed a flagship luxury sedan built to rival the Mercedes S-Class. And now it is closing in on a milestone in Britain that took legacy brands decades to reach. Chinese EV makers are no longer knocking on the door of Western markets. In places like the UK, they are already inside and expanding room by room. None of this guarantees Chinese brands will actually reach 50% of the UK market. Predictions from a rival executive are not the same as a certainty, and established brands like Volkswagen, Ford and Toyota are not simply going to hand over market share without a fight, but the trajectory so far backs up the prediction more than it undermines it. 3 years ago, BYD was a name most British car buyers had never heard of. Today, it is on pace to outsell brands that have been household names in the UK for generations. So what do you think? Is Andrew Stewart's prediction of Chinese brands hitting half the UK market realistic? Or is he overselling the trend? And if price and technology keep favouring Chinese automakers this clearly, what would it actually take for European and Japanese brands to fight back? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you want to keep tracking how fast Chinese EV makers are expanding across global markets, subscribe so you catch the next update. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.